what we need are options. We need to be able to make our own choices, and we can't just be living in 2022 na yung pera natin is just sitting in savings accounts in banks. Like, that's insane to me. Like, what, 'di ba? Parang ang dami na natin nagagawa. Like, there's so much that we're capable of doing, and we're still putting our money in savings accounts. That sounds so archaic, and it's unfair. It's unfair because yung bangko kasi pinapaikot yung pera mo, 'di ba? Pinapahiram nila, they're making money from it, but like you're making nothing from it. You're making 0.2%, tas subject to VAT pa yon, so you lose 12% on your 0.2%. It's ridiculous. Like, what is this?
Wow, just wow. Welcome again, guys, for another Board Punks podcast, episode 44. Grabe, it's been a year. So, happy anniversary yan sa ating very first podcast na naganap here in Board Punks of Society. Ayan. Happy anniversary sa lahat sa atin, guys. Talagang grabe. Ang daming nangyari in the past few months. Ang daming ups, ang daming downs, but we are here to build more, to educate more. Ayan, we are here to learn more of the things na alam natin na hindi pa tayo ganun ka-sure. Kaya, let's dive right in. So, wait, before we go in, nagpapasalamat kami sa ating mga community partners na talagang patuloy pa rin sa pagsuporta sa vision ng Board Punks Society. Nandiyan ang Crypto Chain PH, Real Deal Guild, Gabal's Cryptocurrency Signals, Supplies, 8 Army Guild, CNG, NASA Esports, Sinag Esports, SL Notify, Zfreaks Tribe, Playdex, and as well as Gemini Guild. And don't forget sa lahat ng holders ng Board Punks NFT, ma-avail na natin ang iba't ibang klaseng discounts based on tiers na makikita nyo sa Board Punk Medium natin. Here in Facebook, makikita nyo yung link for that. And makikita nyo naman dyan yung ating mga partners na nagsaslide through sa ating stream kung ano yung perks ma-avail nyo on those partners na yun. So, let's go to the news natin. So, grabe. So, first of all, bakit? Why is this pumping? Diba? So, ano kaya yung changes sa BIS na parang it almost increased by an X amount na umabot siya ng 0.02 something in the past few days sa pansin ko. Like, ang insane. So, ang tanong ba natin dyan, will this go back to way it was before? Or it's just a fluke? So, talagang marami pang mayaaring mangyari, maybe because of the partnerships or developments na ginagawa ng team ng under the Pegasus. But, who knows? There is so much more to learn from other play-to-earn games on how they will cope yung kanilang downside ng kanilang market. So another thing is, grabe, ang peso. Peso to USD. So nasaan dyan lang mga USD gang natin. Ayan. Welcome sa inyo lahat sa ating both Facebook as well as Discord. And sa Gen Chat, press 1 kayo. LFG naman kayo dyan sa ating chats. Kung talagang nakikinig ba talaga kayo sa panibagong Board Punks podcast, na alam ko naman excited din kayo makinig for tonight. Ayan. Grabe yung ating speaker din, ang ating mga kwentuhan for tonight. So grabe ang all-time low ng Pilipinas is 58.9 if I'm not mistaken. Super. So dahil ba to sa mga boosting for hikers ng mga nangyayari records sa ating Philippines, but more into that, grabe. Talagang masaya ang USDT gang, pero kawawa ang peso gang. So, kahit talaga malala, guys. And as well, another thing is yung Lodi coin. Grabe. There is so much thing happening sa Lodi coin, and for this news, alam kong malaki ang may tutulong na ating guest speaker, which is Sir Luis Buenaventura II. So, Sir Luis, hello po. Welcome po sa ating stage. Ayan.
Hello, good evening. Hello,
Good
hello, hello.
evening. So, you've created an article on Facebook or a post on Facebook on this investigating dun sa Lodi coin crash. So, ano yung thoughts niyo po
Yeah.
dun, Sir Luis?
Yeah. To be honest, kasi when I first heard about the Lodi coins thing, medyo late na. I just found out about it actually earlier this week lang eh. So, medyo huli na ako sa balita. Um, but I guess the way I kind of looked at it was, kind of not from the perspective of someone who was an investor in it. I was just looking at it as a third party, just as observer, no. And what I found was that, well, firstly, magulo siya. I guess that's the first thing. No, sobrang gulo niya. They made some bad choices, definitely. Not the least of which was the fact na yung mga investors nila na binentahan nila ng pre-sale tokens, hindi nila nilock yung mga tokens na yon. So lahat ng mga investors na nag-aabang ng public sale. And typically that's not the correct strategy, no? So usually if you are a young project, pag meron ka mga pre-sale investors na naniniwala talaga dun sa ginagawa ng project nyo, you ask them to lock their tokens for actually a pretty long time, no? Usually mga isang taon yan eh. So like kami sa YGG, isang taon yung namin eh, yung lock namin. Sometimes more than pa nga eh. So I've seen some projects do 2 years. So the point of doing that is that you don't actually want your most loyal supporters to just dump on the market as soon as the public sale goes live. And medyo yun yung nangyari dun sa Lodi coin. No? And I guess as I really, really looked more deeply into it, um, honestly, so ang dami kong nakitang mali, pero at the same time, parang hindi ko masabi na scam siya, which is kind of a weird thing for me to say, no? Kasi typically, ang hinahanap ko when I say the word scam is I'm looking for some kind of criminal intent. What that means is that yung mga founders itong project na to, talagang yung balak nila is lokohin yung mga investors nila and then run away with their money. The thing about Lodicoin kasi is hindi sila tumakbo eh. They're still here. And they're still there. They're still defending their project, no? So actually dun sa article na sinulat ko kaninang umaga, they actually went and defended themselves in the comments to just kind of explain their side. And I was like, okay, so that's interesting because normally kung in crypto we have things like rug pull, we have things like Ponzi schemes. Obviously, these are the kind of people that pull off stuff like this. These are bad people. Um, but in the case of Lodi coins kasi, although I wish they hadn't made those bad choices before, they also didn't run away. And it seems like they're still sticking around. Kahit na yun nga, like as I said, sobrang gulo nga nung nangyari sa kanila, no? And like their token price is just in shambles right now. So it's not a great situation. But just because nalugi kasi yung investors does not automatically mean that it's a scam. Because a lot of cryptocurrencies are in the red right now because we're in the crypto winter, diba?
There
So
are a
like
lot.
God, I mean, you can't say that Ethereum
Mm,
is a scam just because you bought at $4,000 and now it's 1,300, diba? Like just because
exactly.
nalugi ka does not automatically mean a scam kasi yun eh.
Mhm.
But yun lang. So I guess that's kind of what I wanted to say about that.
Oh, that's good kasi to be honest what is your thought kasi nga we've talked before nga na earlier this 2 p.m. posted by Metaverse that one of
Mhm.
the Lodi coin developers just deployed Lodi token to a
Mhm.
newly created wallet which
Mhm.
caused the dumping of its Lodi which dumping of the coin to
Mhm.
around much lower price. So naglipat siya
Mhm.
ng $2,000 worth of Lodi coin to another
Okay.
wallet. So ano po yung reaction or magiging analysis for that?
So I mean, I guess the most honest way for me to reply to this is I don't know. I don't know kung ano yung inner thinking ng mga individuals within the Lodicoins team. Posible kasi nagkanya-kanya na sila eh. 'Di ba? Kasi
Mhm.
parang yun nga maybe some people in the team because they saw how bad things are going for the Lodicoins project, baka they're starting to jump ship na, no? That's kind of the term for that. Parang ina-abandon na nila yung project and they're just trying to get whatever money they can. I don't know. I don't know if that's what's happening. I also don't think that it's wise for us to constantly jump to conclusions. Because
Mhm.
the thing about so the interesting thing about the blockchain, no, the blockchain will tell you that transactions have happened, but it will not actually tell you kung ano yung reason for those transactions. So tayo pa rin yung nag-iimbento ng mga
Mhm.
dahilan eh. And it's very hard for us to prove kung ano to yung totoong underlying reason for kind of these things that we're observing in the blockchain. I really don't know. I don't know these people. I've never met them before. I mean, obviously, I hope that they can still work on the project because I want them to somehow return
The
the
trust.
investments of
Mhm.
their early investors. But like I don't know if
Mhm.
that's possible either. Yun lang. So like
Mhm.
my hope is na ituloy nila yung Lodi Coins project and somehow make it profitable. I don't know if that's possible, but I guess that's all I can
Who
really hope for
knows?
right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Mm,
mainly in the point of the investor's perspective,
mm,
mapapay sila, bakit? Bakit
mm,
kailangan maglipat? Parang
mm.
may sense na gano'n, di ba?
Yeah, yeah.
Parang
Yeah, yeah.
what
I mean,
happened?
again, I,
Mhm.
I I really don't know. And it's possible nga na na because of all of the drama that's happened in the last 4 days or
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
there are probably members of their team na medyo they're kind of
Downright bad.
nagta-table flip na yung ganun, parang I'm out of
Yeah.
here ganun, like I don't want to get any more part of this. I don't know, diba? Like I really don't know. But yun nga, I guess that the problem kasi is pag nag-public market ka na,
Mhm.
lahat ng pwede mangyari, mangyayari eh. That's the problem
Exactly.
with listing on a public exchange. Which
Like
is
there
again
is no
why
limit to it talaga.
yeah, yeah, there's no limit to it. Because however many Lodi coins are currently in circulation, lahat yun posibleng mabenta at some point eh. Because
Mhm.
it's all open now. So, which is kind of why ano eh, like you really want to have locking mechanisms on your tokens, particularly for the dev team. Kasi yung dev team, hindi dapat free to sell yung Lodi coins nila whenever they want eh. Kasi what you
Mhm.
want is the dev team needs to stick around and work on this project for a certain number of time, usually that's a couple of years, and only then will their tokens
They
actually
could.
start to unlock. And that's the most standard way to do it. Eh. So like yung ginawa nila na to na walang locking mechanism was really unwise because now they're kind of wala na. They're kind of at the mercy of whoever has Lodi coins. So yun. So mahirapan na talaga sila. They're not gonna be able to control it anymore. That's the issue there.
Yun nga. So talagang whatever happens sa Lodecoin, it's your full decision talaga. Sila na talagang bahala if ever it would go back to its normal working phase or it will completely shut down. Who knows pa
I
rin.
mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you believe in trends, the trend is
Mhm.
not going up right now. Di ba?
It is
Parang
not
it's definitely kind of slumping, right? So,
plummeting. Yeah.
if you asked me to make a bet on whether or not makaka-recover sila or eventually they'll just have to like shut down, I think it's more likely na mag-shut down sila based on yung direction nila right now. Kasi
Mhm.
pababa nga siya. But you never know, di ba? You never know. And like as I said, the entire crypto market is in a downward trajectory right now.
Mhm.
And this is the third time in the last 8 years that I've seen a like terrible downtrend in the crypto market.
Mhm.
And it's recovered each time. So it's not impossible. It's just hard. Yun lang. Yeah. Yun lang. I guess that's
Parang the
the
chances are little talagang slim.
yeah, 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 yeah. The chances are slim, but it's not impossible.
Okay, okay. So yun. So going back to our main topic. So for episode 44, analyze the crypto market to your advantage. Yan. Kaya nandito si Sir Luis on how he will teach us or how he will enlighten us kung paano natin take advantage yung crypto market ngayon. Ayan. So, Sir Luis, before we start things up, sino ba si Sir Luis and ano ba yung pinagkakaabalahan niya throughout
Uh,
his journey? Ayan.
Okay, so I'm the country manager of Yield Guild Games. We're the largest metaverse organization. We are founded by Filipinos. I'm not one of the founders, but I manage the Philippine operation. I've been working in the crypto industry since 2014. The cheapest Bitcoin I ever saw was $180. And I'm also the founder of Crypto Pop Art Guild, which is another organization that specializes in NFT art. So I mean, that's something that's near and dear to the board punk. So I'm sure you know that area. But yeah, so yung expertise ko is kind of like all over, no? So like I've also co-founded one of the licensed na crypto exchanges here in the Philippines. That was back in 2017 pa. Sorry, 2015 pa. Um, so yeah, so I've really been around, and as I said earlier, I've been through three of these crypto winters now. So I know how long and how painful and how arduous the struggle is before we can kind of recover from this season. But because I've seen it happen a few times in the past, I'm actually not as worried as a lot of people. So yun yung ano, I guess that's the thing I can kind of impart there.
So mainly, what area do you focus as of ngayon in your
So
career?
yeah, so in YGG, we focus a lot on community engagement. So making sure that our community is having fun, is being able to interact with each other, is being properly informed, is being properly educated. So we're kind of we're very very parang relationship focused on our community. Malaki-laki yung YGG community. We have about 100,000 people in the Discord and other parang channels. So it's quite a large group, and we kind of really focus on right now. We're focusing a
Mhm.
lot on parang teaching our community skills that are useful in the metaverse. So content creation, trading. You know, you have to know a little bit about trading. Just I mean, if you're in crypto, but you need to have some kind of basic knowledge with trading, no matter what, kasi parang it's
Mhm.
part and parcel of the industry. So yun, yung mga ganon, yun yung mga ano, and then we try to do regular meetups at least once a month, usually in Makati or some other part of Metro Manila. Although recently, I went up to Baguio to meet the
Mhm.
community there. So we're trying to mix it up and meet as many people as we can, and also kind of like just help inform people or educate people about how this stuff actually works. Because crypto is inevitable, but it's also a very high learning curve. So it's quite challenging for people who are not as comfortable with technology.
Ayun, so gusto kasi malaman din ng ating viewers as well as yung ating mga Discord members na how it first started talaga. What's your first journey, yung unang apak sa pag, let's say, pag-trade, yung, I mean, your
Okay,
first baby steps in crypto on
sure.
how it went to a downfall up to the moon na naranasan nyo,
Yeah, yeah,
gano'n.
yeah, okay. I joined Bitcoin right around the time na nag all-time high siya na $1,000. And this was a very very late 2013 until very early 2014. Yun yung nag-peak siya eh. So mga $1,100 I think was the highest at the time. Eh. And also here's another thing that's very interesting, no, yung other than the fact that the price of Bitcoin was incredibly low compared to what it is right now,
Mhm.
yung market share ng Bitcoin relative to the rest of the crypto world. So right now, kasi, we know that there's about 11,000 other tokens in the crypto world. So Bitcoin only really comprises about 40% of the entire market cap of cryptocurrency. Right now, when I
Mhm.
joined, it was 98%. So parang there was nothing else. There was Bitcoin, and then everything else was like tiny, tiny things. Nothing.
Mhm.
Wala pang Ethereum back then, eh.
Mhm.
And so it was like much, much later that Ethereum kind of started to get more and more market share. Kasi. Anyway, so yeah, so I got into Bitcoin. I joined a Bitcoin startup here in the Philippines. We were working to kind of try to figure out how to use Bitcoin as a remittance instrument para to help our OFW send money more cheaply, yung ganun, that kind of thing. This was a very very popular theory back in 2014 until about 2015 2016. Parang a lot of people were still doing remittances as a reason for cryptocurrency. In fact, I think I'm not sure if you mentioned it or I just saw it earlier today siguro na yung XRP is here in the Philippines right now, 'di ba? Kasi meron silang yung tumataas yung coin nila over the
It
last week
is.
because they have a partnership with iRemit. So, yung strategy na yon, yung remittance strategy na yun, that's been around for 8 years. Like, crypto has been trying to crack the remittances challenge for the last 8 years or so. So that's not new, but I guess XRP is maybe finally trying to crack it more directly, by creating business partnerships here in the Philippines. So yun yung ano, that's what's going on there. Anyway, yeah, so I that was kind of that's how I entered into crypto, parang very specifically because I wanted to see if I could use it to improve remittances. And then later on, as I started to really, really understand how Bitcoin worked, and kind of later, even more later than that, when Ethereum launched, parang I started to realize na all of the options and all of the parang amazing applications that cryptocurrencies allow for, they can work together to actually give Filipinos some alternatives. No, so they can have alternative ways to earn income. They can have alternative ways to save money, store money, save wealth, ganon, stuff like that. So parang that's kind of the thing that I'm kind of very focused on right now. How do you use crypto in a way that is going to allow you to safely store your wealth long term, na hindi ka nalulugi over time. Kind of like what's going on with the Philippine peso, no? So like our parents always tell us you should save money for a rainy day. Pero the problem is, if you save your Philippine peso in the bank, like nauubos siya sa inflation eh. 'Di ba? Yung value ng Philippine peso is going down at a rate of about 6-7% per year. And then yung interest na binabayad sa ng banko when you put it in the bank account, 'di ba, is like 0.2% per annum. Like that's nothing, 'di ba? It's basically nothing. So I find that there's very little point trying to save money as peso. I think you should definitely look at other things. If if you don't like crypto, at the very least, put your money in dollars. At least, at the very least. Pero yun nga, medyo mataas na yung dollar ngayon, di ba?
Yeah.
Of all of the coins na pwedeng mag-moon this year, actually USD yung nag-moon eh. Hindi yung hindi Bitcoin eh, hindi Ethereum.
Di nga po. Like lang way back then, 51, 50, 49, dun lang naglalaro ang peso back then. But
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
58.
Well, look, also I'll tell you one
Mhm.
very interesting thing about the Philippine peso. When it first started in the 1950s, na nagkaroon na siya ng dollar peg, it was 2:1. 2 pesos is to $1. So now it's 58, right? So okay, great. It's
Wow.
lost 99% of its value against the dollar over the last, 70 years. Actually, so I'll reveal how old I am. No, so I was born in 1981. The year I was born, it was 11 pesos to a dollar. So just in the last 40 years, in my adult life basically, it's already lost about 85% of its value against the dollar. So pardon my French, pero the Philippine peso is a shitcoin. And you really shouldn't be holding on to it.
In terms of sa market natin sa crypto, yung mga shit coins and stuff, yung mga blue chip coins, yung
Yeah.
peso, yan, shit coin.
Yeah, man,
So,
it's not a great
downtrend din
investment.
malala.
No, it's like downtrend na yung downtrend niya has 70 years of historical data to back it up. Hindi siya like tipong, like you talk about downtrend sometimes and yung shitcoin na to has only been around for 1 year. Ito 70 years of data na
But
pababa siya
no.
forever. It's like,
Like,
dude,
constant siya, pababa.
oh my, there's no like how else can you ever expect it to go up? Like given that you've got 70 years of back testing that is telling you na pababa nga siya, parang wala eh. It's just it's probably impossible.
Kahit ano pang analysis yan, it would be hard for it to rise quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Mm-mm.
So yun, going back to the topic, in terms of your journey in
Mhm,
crypto,
mhm.
what can you say is your lowest point?
Oh God, ang dami. Um, I think, oh, sige, so maybe I'll do the earlier ones, but I'll actually explain something first, no? Kasi like whenever I tell people na ano, the first Bitcoin I ever bought was like $200. Parang they always think na parang, oh God, sobrang yaman siguro nito. Kasi like, ano, di ba, dami, like $200, like you could have bought like, God, even just 10 Bitcoin, di ba? Like, ano, 10 Bitcoin would only have cost you $2,000, 100,000 pesos, but now it would be worth 10 million pesos, roughly. I'm like, so okay, so here's the reality of being an early Bitcoiner in the Philippines. So I wasn't rich, no. So I was actually a struggling startup founder. And when I discovered Bitcoin, I didn't really have a lot of money. I had very little disposable income because lahat ng pera ko had been poured into my business. And my business itself wasn't doing all that well. So even though I had bought Bitcoin at $200, I was actually slowly selling it every few months habang tumataas siya. So actually, most of the Bitcoin I bought from back then, I don't have anymore because sobrang haba nung crypto winter. That first crypto winter that I experienced, 2015, 2016, actually until almost 2017 yun eh. It was such a long crypto winter that I couldn't survive. I couldn't hold long enough. Like yung diamond hands na sinasabi nila, that only works kung hindi ka gutom eh. And kung wala ka ng pangkain, then you kind of have to start liquidating, no? Yung whatever crypto that you have, whatever assets that you have to let it go. So actually, the most painful lesson, my most painful lesson back then was the fact that it doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter how. Like what price you're able to capture, like kahit mababa siya, so you feel really good about yourself. What matters is how long you can hold it. Eh. And yung hold time what affects that is how much disposable income you actually have. Kasi kung yung pera mo is just Bitcoin and sobrang baba niya, just like ano, lugi ka rin eh eventually, 'di ba? So like kunwari ngayon, so the price of Bitcoin is about $19,000, right? So if you were one of those people who got in 2021, so last year, that probably means you bought it at about $30,000 to $40,000, so twice this price, right? So if you are not able to hold from 2022 to 2023 and maybe even until 2024, if you're not able to hold it, lugi ka talaga. Diba? Kasi at some point, you will have to sell it and it's probably going to be in the $20,000 range and you would have lost nearly half of your investment if you did that. So it's about the holding time. And in fact, there is a saying in the crypto market that I like to repeat. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in market. So what does that mean? It's not about finding the correct time kung kailan ka papasok, kung kailan ka mag-exit. It's not about that. Eh. It's about the length of the time that you are willing to stay in there. Because yung mga cycle ng Bitcoin or crypto in general, although we think na ang bilis niya gumalaw, yung long-term trends niya are actually quite long eh. Like you're talking like 4 years eh. So whenever I make recommendations to people now, because I learned from my own kind of painful experience, I always say, hey man, if you're gonna come into Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other cryptos, if you're gonna come in this year, you have to be ready to hold on to this investment for the next 3 to 4 years. If you're looking for a quick flip na tipong hey 100x, it's like God, that's you just play in leveraged markets and play around with shitcoins. But that's just gambling. That's not ano eh. There's no amount of parang you can't do that consistently as a way to make money. If you want to do something passive and you just want to hold on to your savings somewhere, the correct way to do it is to be willing to hold it for a time frame of longer than 3 years, because that's ganun yung cycles ng crypto. It's usually about 4 year cycles. So ayun, that's both my painful experience and my advice to people.
I mean, totoo. Actually, most of the people talaga nag-iisip once you bought Bitcoin at a lower price in those past year, inisip talaga nila, they thought that you hold that for so long na it made you a millionaire, but to be
Yeah.
honest, on what you invested on that year, yun ang paglalaroan mo eh. So,
Yeah.
emotionally tiring, mentally stressing, na
Yeah.
parang,
For sure.
what options do I need to take in order for me parang to take profit from this? Because may data na tayo back then eh.
Oh yeah.
May data tayo in a sense na if we'd seen the charts,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
magmumunto, like ganun. Kaya mostly yung mainisip ng tao, since umabot nga ng 30k dollars nga ang Bitcoin, iisip nila na you've hold, but little do they know, in some point, you are struggling as well as you are thriving in the winter in order to
Yeah.
make yourself parang in a sense na gaining, somewhat
Yeah.
gaining.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
So yun, since you've told us a story of your downest moment, paano naman yung na-reach nyo na yung one of your highest points na masasabi nyo, wow, galing.
Hmm.
I've reached
Um.
this.
Huh. Well, what's a high? I guess. I guess with NFTs, it's kind of ironic actually, no? Because like when I got into crypto, so NFTs wasn't even a thing in 2014, no? And actually, Ethereum itself wasn't even a thing in 2014. Vitalik Buterin, yung creator ng Ethereum, his first job was he was a writer for Bitcoin Magazine. So actually, he didn't start as just like, hey, I'm gonna build Ethereum. It was because he was working within the Bitcoin community already. Thus, he came up with the idea of Ethereum later on. But anyway, so what was the highest point for me? I guess ano. In 2017, I joined a very small Ethereum project. Um, it's actually just some random people I met in a bar in San Francisco. Parang they were looking for artists who wanted to contribute their art for free to a Ethereum project. Tapos yung Ethereum project na yun, parang siyang digital trading cards. So it would be thousands and thousands of editions. Tapos yung isang artwork mo, kunwari, so like I contributed 3 pieces to this collection. So each of your artwork would have maybe 1,000 editions, right? Tapos bebenta nila. They'll try to sell those editions para exactly like digital trading cards. There was no physical paper. It was just all digital. Now, I did not understand what the point of the whole thing was. And actually, I completely forgot about it. And as far as I can tell, nalugi yung startup na yon. But 4 years later, it turns out that yung project na yun was actually the world's first NFT art project. It was called My Curio Cards. Um, and when they rediscovered My Curio Cards, they put it on OpenSea, and over the course of the next 6 to 7 months, it sold about 35,000 Ethereum in total volume, something like $120 million. And the original artists, I was one of the 7 original artists of this collection. We all got for the rest of our lives, we will get 1% royalties on this. So I guess yung weird high moment of this story is the fact na, like I just joined a random project in 2017. I had no idea what it was. And in fact, actually, so one other weird thing about this, no? So yung project na yun, yung My Curio Cards na yun in 2017, it was so early that Vitalik Buterin actually uses it as an example for the specification of ERC 721, which is the specification of NFTs. So parang it became an example for NFTs later on. And so it was before CryptoPunks, which is the project that people will usually refer to as the first NFT project. Pero yung CryptoPunks kasi ano yun generative NFT yon. Yung sa amin, it was actual NFT art. Like every edition was
One is to
hand
one lahat.
drawn. Was a different artist. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So yun. Anyway, so that's that's yung project na yun has actually sold more than the entire country of the Philippines our art industry in on any given year. Kasi yung Philippine art industry only does about $90 million per year. on average on a good year, no? And yun nga, yung crypto yung Curio Cards has done about 130 million dollars now at the last time I checked, parang ganon. So it's done very well. And again, it's like one of those parang miraculous chaos kind of things, no? Like I was not
Mhm.
expecting that this was something that was going to do well, but because the blockchain can prove that you were the very first NFT art project ever, and because the blockchain project can the blockchain sorry because the blockchain can assign automatic royalties to the artists. So basically, for as long as we have access to our Ethereum wallets, we will receive royalties for this project forever, which is kind of an amazing thought, no? Na parang wow, okay, that's like completely unexpected. I'm sure none of us were expecting it because like we were not known artists. Eh. We were like I was just a cartoonist. Some of the other guys were just like ano very quiet modern artists na hindi naman talagang ganun ka-active, but like because of this nakilala sila. But yeah, that's the chaos and wonder of crypto for you.
Grabe yung journey na yon. Talagang, I mean, I think that is one of the, ano, the best thing I've heard in terms of contribution into the NFT space. Like,
Yeah,
grabe.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
So I mean, in
yun,
terms of high points, diba, that's kind of hard. It's hard to beat that
mm,
one. But it was like weird, because like, wala naman, like I was just random. I didn't know. I didn't know that it was going to do very well. I didn't know that it was going to do well 4 years later. Kasi nung year na
mhm,
yun mismo, yung 2017, walang pumansin dun sa project na yun eh. Like, walang bumili. Kaya nalugi yung
mhm.
startup eh. So, nalugi sila, they actually quit and they shut down. I never heard from them again. And then 4 years later, someone unearthed the original smart contract. It turns out, oh my God, this is actually the world's oldest NFT art project. Tapos yun, tapos nire-list nila sa OpenSea. And then yun, the rest of it just kind of took off from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey yung art na yon. Like, very first, parang individually drawn
Yeah.
by multiple
Yeah.
artists. And
Yeah.
look at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's talk about more about crypto. So, Sir Luis, what makes you think about its potential, yung ating crypto natin ngayon?
Hmm. Um, well, I mean, a lot of different things. I think mostly it's the fact that I just think that fiat itself is so broken. I think that central banking is broken. I think that to a certain extent, the Federal Reserve is broken. Um, so we need alternatives. Eh? I don't know if crypto is going to be the ultimate thing that will replace all of this stuff, but at least we have an alternative. So the people out there who don't want to put their money in a bank, don't want to, kind of depend on a sovereign fiat currency like the Philippine peso that is devaluing over time. At least I've got options. And for a while, actually, that's kind of the reason why I founded a crypto exchange in the Philippines. Because for a while, I really wanted to make sure na madali mag exchange yung mga Pinoy. Like, even if it's just small amounts, 500 pesos a month or whatever. At least you've got some money in in an asset that has a long-term chance of going up. Yun. So it doesn't even have to be anything fancy. I mean, honestly, just Bitcoin is probably okay. Honestly, like I usually only recommend Bitcoin and Ethereum, just because those are the ones I know the best. But yeah, yung what we need are options. We need to be able to make our own choices, and we can't just be living in 2022 na yung pera natin is just sitting in savings accounts in banks. Like that's insane to me. Like, what, 'di ba? Parang ang dami na nating nagagawa. Like, there's so much that we're capable of doing, and we're still putting our money in savings accounts. That sounds so archaic, and it's unfair. It's unfair because yung bangko kasi pinapaikot yung pera mo, 'di ba? Pinapahiram nila. They're making money from it, but like you're making nothing from it. You're making 0.2%, that's subject to VAT pa yun, so you lose 12% on your 0.2%. It's ridiculous. Like, what is this?
Para yung pa masasabi mong cash grab. Joke lang.
Yeah, sobrang ano, it's like no, I mean honestly, dude. Like so I actually, you know what? I used to be back when I was a little bit earlier in this industry. Sobrang ingat ko the way I talk. Eh. But now it's
Mhm.
like god, like I mean, I don't pull punches anymore because like honestly, like banks are just horrible. Like they don't care and they are going to make money from your money and you're not going to get any of it. And as the peso devalues, they will still return the same amount of pesos to you that you put in. So, over time, malulugi ka lang talaga eh. It's like it's just not a great system. So I should probably say that like I don't know if cryptocurrencies are going to be the thing that will ultimately save us from all of this stuff. But at least we're trying. At least there is something out there that is making an attempt. Because if you don't try, we'll always be stuck with the same thing. And that's why I don't want to just stick with that.
Yun. So, you've mentioned about options. So, for you, Sir Luis, how do you do market analysis naman in
Mm-mm.
crypto? So, what are the options that you take in terms of analyzing the current situation of the crypto market?
So okay. I guess maybe the easiest way to frame this question is what do I recommend that you buy right now? Kasi parang ganun din yan. Eh. Ultimately, dun tayo
Mm.
babagsak eh. Like, what do I recommend that you buy right now, given that I am very pro crypto? Okay, so here's my recommendation, and you are going to find this ridiculous. My recommendation is USDC. That's it. Because I actually think that there is going to be a very lengthy cycle that probably could last until maybe middle of next year, maybe late next year, na mababang mababa lahat. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, it's gonna be low. Bitcoin is $90,000 right now. Ethereum is $1,300. BNB is 260 dollars, something like that. So everything's low across the board, no? And these represent something like 60-70% drops from all-time high. So it's quite large. Um, the reason why I actually recommend stable coins right now is I don't think you need to rush into buying Bitcoin or Ethereum yet, because I feel like although malapit na tayo sa bottom, I'm not sure we're there yet. Eh. And I'm also not sure that if you bought now, like I don't think it's gonna suddenly just start going up, no? Like okay, so bumili ka nga ngayon, pero like if you're holding it for the next year, tapos $19,000 pa rin yung price ng Bitcoin a year from now, then what's the point? 'Di ba? Sana bumili ka na lang later on. You could have just held your money in dollars. Why do I say dollars though? Because we're living in the Philippines.
Mhm.
And if we're holding dollars in the Philippines, you have a much better chance na hindi kakainin ng inflation yung USD holdings mo because mas mataas, mas mabilis umakyat yung value ng USD against the Philippine peso. So yun lang. And we've seen that over the last year, 'di ba? Parang we started the year at 52 pesos, we're now at 58. We're probably going to hit 60. Some people are saying 65. I don't know about 65. That feels like a little bit too much to me, but I think 60 is almost inevitable at this point. So over the course of 1 year, we have seen a 15% gain in the value of US dollars compared to Philippine peso. That's kind of the best deal we can currently find in a bear market because everything else
Mhm.
is down. Eh. Like even stocks are like traditional stocks are down, crypto is down. Unless you're the kind of person who wants to day trade, not or actually not even day trade, but like yeah, I guess it's still called day trading, but like you're constantly just watching the charts, no? If you have the time to constantly watch the charts, then yeah, pwede mo laruin yung market eh. Kasi gumagalaw naman siya eh. It's not completely sideways. It is actually going up and down in small ranges. So kung mabilis ka, you can still find a buy low, sell high kind of opportunity. But you have to be watching it like a hawk. Basically, you have to be a professional trader. And I don't think that's worth the trouble. I actually think that it's probably better for you to just like hold on to your funds as stable coins, at least some of it as stable coins. para you can kind of make a decision later on down the road, no? Parang okay, so like maybe like start of 2023, the market is starting to gain momentum again. Para you can kind of sense na tumataas na siya ulit. So like maybe Bitcoin is $25,000 and it looks like it's strong. That's a good time to buy in. Di ba? But like if you parang kung sinugal mo siya ngayon and bumili ka ng Bitcoin ngayon just because it's $19,000, you have no idea how long this winter is gonna last. Eh. And generally speaking, it's somewhere between 18 to 24 months. At least yung last two have been that long. So like, God, that's a long time, dude. That's a long time to be holding on to an asset that could be going down in value again. Kaya ano eh, at the moment, medyo nasa USD yung ano ko eh. Like, I'm not saying that I put all of my money in USD. I'm just saying that ano, me kasi I'm 100% crypto na eh. I don't actually have peso anymore. So, lahat ng pera ko is some form of crypto or some form of stablecoin, and that's it. That's all I've got. So, yun. So, at the moment, I'm favoring stablecoins a little bit para may bala ako pag when the market looks like it's starting to recover.
So one ano po, curious question. You've said USDC. Why not USDT
Only
or
because
BUSD?
our BUSD, actually, ang dami nun. Why did I say USDC? I guess because it's a little bit more popular in the professional crypto world. So if you're a company or a guild or like us, like YGG, if you're that kind of organization and you pay your employees in stablecoins, usually USDC yan eh, it's not USDT. Um, for a couple of different reasons, no. Honestly, they're almost the same. And I think that there's not really a lot of difference naman. Like I think that honestly, USDT, USDC, BUSD, almost all the same. I think. I wouldn't make a big deal about any like switching. I guess yung preference ko lang is just USDC, just because yun na mismo yung pinapambayad sa amin. So like I don't have to change anything.
I
Yun,
see.
ganun lang. Yung hindi ko ginagalaw masyado yung mga algorithmic na stablecoins. So this is like the very infamous Terra, yung with the
Mm-mm.
Luna collapse earlier this year. DAI, Cello Dollar. Those are kind of algorithmic stablecoins. I'm not as into that. Like I'd much rather na just peg it the old-fashioned way, just like
Mhm.
USDT or USDC. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that kind of setup.
I see. So talagang there is no specific reason. It's just that you're more familiar talaga into that coin because it's been used and been in your system from
Yeah.
payments from other stuff
Yeah.
in terms of
I
maintaining.
guess
I see.
medyo if this is the kind of thing that matters to you, mas nag-audit yung USDC.
Mm-mm.
They'll actually report kung nasaan lahat ng mga pera ng mga investors nila. Ganun, stuff like that. They're very transparent about stuff like that. So for some people
Mm.
that matters. And certainly for very large businesses na million yung USDC, they will definitely prefer USDC kasi yun it's more transparent. Yung sa USDT, yung Tether Foundation kasi hindi sila ganoon kasipag mag-report nung kung ano yung makeup nung pera nila. And that matters eh. Kasi ano yun eh, basically lahat ng pera nila, yung deposits ng mga customers yun eh. So, it matters where it is. But Tether is not as open about where it all is. Whereas USDC is very open because they're kind of a completely US-based company. They have to be by law or something. So yeah, that's the reason.
So since we talk about in terms of the market analysis, paano naman natin masasabi na it is important to do market analysis?
Um, well, okay. So the first thing I'll say is I'm not a technical analyst. Like I don't
Mhm.
I understand the basics of reading charts because I have to. It's part of my job, but I am not a TA.
Mhm.
The way that the way that I tend to make decisions is actually fundamental analysis or macro. So a very common trick that I do recently is every time na may meeting yung Federal Reserve in the United States, they'll usually announce this about a week before. Every time that there is a meeting, I'll usually sell my crypto. Tapos kasi ano eh, almost inevitably bumababa yung market eh. The day of the announcements ng Federal Reserve about the fact that inflation is high, the fact that they are going to have to put in more strict economic controls. All of those things causes the market to drop. Usually drops by about 3 to 4%. It's not massive, pero it's become a funny little strategy for me na ano, like I'll sell the day before the Federal Reserve does their announcement. Tapos lahat ng crypto na binenta ko back that time, I'll buy it back pag mababa yung price. And then usually it'll come back up within the next 48 hours. Eh. Magre-recover yung market kasi actually parang, it's fine. We can survive. Ganon. So, um, I tend to be a little bit more. This is kind of more macro analysis now because those are news. It's not. Ano eh, I'm not looking at charts. I'm actually looking at news headlines. I'm watching the speeches or the keynote of the the heads of the Federal Reserve, and I'm listening to what they're saying. Like when they say things like we need to implement stricter protocols, or we are going to have to make the economy slow down, yung stuff like that. Those are words that will make the market drop. Eh. So yun. And without fail, that's happened the last 3 times I've had meetings. So yun yung ginagawa kong parang it's a tiny little strategy that has worked pretty consistently because yun nga, we're in a downtrending market. So it's usually better for you to sell and then kind of rebuy pag bumaba yung price. I think we have
Exactly.
some
So
questions in the chat. Are you seeing these questions?
yeah, we do. So yun nga po, I'm going to ask as well for our Facebook viewers as well as on our Discord viewers. If you have any questions, kindly put them in the comment section for those Facebook users and as well as for our Discord members and our podcast questions text channel. So here's a question from Lost Amistad Miranda. So he's talking about NFTs. Can you share some tips for those who want to start with NFTs?
Sure. Yeah. So, I think the first thing you have to kind of figure out um, is this for you? Because the thing about NFTs is like a lot of artists will hear stories like mine, diba? And they'll be like, "Oh man, I wish I could make money like that. Na every month may royalty payment ako and stuff like that." It's like, and the first thing I will tell you is I've been very very fortunate, and it's very hard to replicate this particular set of circumstances that I experienced. Um, I'm not entirely sure because if NFT art is for everyone. When I say everyone, I mean I'm not sure it's for every artist. The reason I say that is because with NFT art there is a very very strong need to self promote. You have to be active on Twitter. You have to be kind of you show up in a lot of meetups, galleries, even virtual galleries, exhibits, stuff like that. You really have to be able to self promote. um, some artists are not comfortable doing that, and oftentimes parang they would rather stay away nga from the whole promotion thing. They just kind of want to create their art. So for the artists like that, mahirap talaga pumasok sa NFT kasi like ang dami mo kailangan aralin eh. Like you have to learn how to interact with people on Twitter, and a lot of people don't know how to speak properly in 280 character messages at a time, no? So there's a lot of it's a learning curve. There's a real learning curve. So I will say that the single hardest thing about NFT art is not the technology part. The technology part's easy. Minting, like creating your first wallet, minting your first work. That stuff is easy. You can learn it in about an hour of watching YouTube videos. It's so easy. Yung mahirap is actually marketing your stuff and making sure that you are actually visible to the world. Kasi, especially us, we're Filipino artists, like Filipino artists that are trying to imagine yourself, a Filipino artist trying to make enough noise that the global community will hear you and pay attention to your work. That's hard. That's really hard. Like you have to have a really unique story in order for that kind of message to break through because there's so much noise out there. So that's what's that's the challenge of NFT art. But I mean, again, like, I'm not saying that to discourage you. I'm just saying it because you need to understand kasi kung ano yung laro in NFT art. It's really not the technology that makes it difficult. The learning curve on that is actually relatively easy. It's the marketing that makes it hard.
More on your foundation to stand up to what you
Yeah.
have. Ganon.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Kasi
Mm.
in most of my NFT journeys in terms of buying, investing, or just wanting to it, because parang ang nangyayari is we for the artist mas maganda na he's known, like he's
Mhm.
very outspoken, is
Mhm.
very more on community driven then as well. So
Mhm.
without a strong community, mahirapan talaga.
Yeah.
Pero we do have our own ways how we could climb up in terms of this kind of um, career in mind. So yun, hope Amistad that Sir Luis has answered your question. And another question from Facebook from Buddy Magsipok. So speaking of Federal Reserves, what would the crypto slash stablecoin or entity scenario be like when the US Fed says, okay, we're gonna officially on recession now?
Yeah, okay. All right. So what's a recession? It means that the economy is contracting, right? So nalugi yung mga businesses, people are not buying, yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, it's gonna cause people to pull out their money from crypto. I mean, we're already feeling it. We're kind of in a baby recession right now. The Fed doesn't want to use the word recession because as soon as you say that, everyone will pull their money out of the stock market. And I mean, there already are, diba? So you're just gonna see it happen, but in a massive wave, and it's gonna happen in every high risk asset. Of course, crypto is a high risk asset, and NFTs are an even more high risk asset because they're a subset of crypto. So all of these things will suddenly see some massive liquidations. Um, and it's going to take a lot of time to rebuild from there. But yeah, so if you read the way that the Federal Reserve kind of talks about the economy, they're very careful not to use words like that. They don't quite want to say it yet, but I mean, it's got all the makings of a recession already. I mean, the fact na ganun kataas yung inflation, like in the States, it's like 8% yung inflation nila ngayon. In the Philippines, it's 6.5%. That's pretty high. That's like the highest it's been in about 20 years. So, ang nangyayari dyan, it makes people value their fiat, their dollars. So they pull it out of their investments. They liquidate their bitcoins, they liquidate their NFTs, they turn it into dollars, and they hold on to the dollars, and then just hope na when the market recovers, may pang bibili sila they can buy back those assets. Um,
I
and that's a
see.
very common that's the effect of the Federal Reserve saying something like, okay, we're officially in a recession. They have not said that yet, but I mean, it's geez, it's
I
looking
mean, it's a very
pretty.
loophole talaga in terms of saying that word. Parang there are some
Yeah,
terms na parang it says that we're going in a downtrend, parang ganon.
yeah, yeah.
That inflation is up.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
You may not feel it in the words, pero in terms of percentage,
Yeah,
ramdam.
yeah. Yeah, saka so here's a ano pala. Sorry, one other perspective that I should say this more often kasi when people so kunwari Pinoy, 'di ba? So syempre yung iniisip natin yung mga OFWs natin na yung mga yung pinapadala nila sa atin na dollars are actually buying more pesos now, 'di ba? So parang mas sulit yung sinesend nila. So like if they send the average OFW sends $200 a month. So yung $200 na yun is now worth almost 12,000 pesos. So actually that's pretty nice, right? Kasi tumataas siya. But actually having an expensive US dollar is going to create higher prices here at home also. Why?
Mhm.
Well, the most obvious one is like imagine all of the stuff you buy from Shopee or Lazada. Saan ba nila binibili yon? They're using dollars to buy, yung mga vendors sa Shopee, they're using dollars to buy those items. So yung
Mhm.
dollars that they're using to buy those items are getting higher and higher in price. Therefore, the peso price that they will charge you for those goods, for those products, tataas din yan. Naglalag lang siya eh. Hindi pa natin nararamdaman eh. It usually takes about 30 to 60 days before you really kind of notice the impact of foreign exchange. But
Mhm.
you'll start to see it kasi hindi pa nauubos yung inventory ng mga vendors eh. Possibly they're still selling it from like a couple months ago, diba? But um, you'll start to notice it soon. Probably by around November, we'll kind of notice that wow, everything in Lazada feels slightly more expensive than before, and it's because the dollar is more expensive. Because no, it doesn't really matter where the actual merchandise is from. It's usually from China, diba? But even if it's from China, usually we're converting into dollars in order to pay them, eh. Kasi
Mhm.
the dollar is the global reserve currency. So yun, everyone is going to be affected by this. So don't feel so kind of confident na parang hey parang the dollar doing well. It all of the stuff that we're spending our pesos on is also going to get more expensive over time.
Exactly. Parang it just balances things out. Hindi porket tumaas lang ang price ng dollars in terms of PH, masaya ka na. But in
Mm-mm.
the end, tataas din talaga eventually yung mga
Yeah,
binibili natin
yeah,
kahit saan
right,
man.
right.
So yun, also there's another question from Dave Maway. He also wants to become a fundamental analyst.
Mhm.
So
Uh-huh.
saan nyo po usually nababasa or naririnig yung yung mga news about crypto?
Yeah. So okay, I read a lot of business news websites. It's very boring. It's not interesting at all. But occasionally you will find some news that's really important, right? So, The Economist, Forbes, kind of like in locally Business World, I guess. But like I don't spend a lot of time on it. Usually, just sa headlines pa lang makikita mo na yung mga like can sort of kind of get a sense of what's important just from the headlines. And then, from the headlines, saka mo na, like then you dive in, no? In the crypto world, I usually read Decrypt. I don't know how to I can't type here, no. So DECRYPT. Decrypt as in like encrypt but decrypt. So I like reading Decrypt. I like reading The Block. Um, ano pa ba? The Defiant is another one. That's also a crypto news portal. So those are the ones I kind of like reading. Um, but like honestly, almost any crypto news website has discovered now that the Federal Reserve announcements actually have a lot of impact on the crypto market. So actually, if you don't have to read traditional news anymore, you can just read crypto news websites, and they will usually say something about a Federal Reserve announcement, a central bank announcement, stuff like that. And then parang it's up to you how to interpret what that means. But yung sources are relatively reliable naman.
So yun, hope Dave Maoy na sagot si Sir Luis. So be mindful talaga as well dun sa ating nababasa online in terms of the crypto news as well as yung foreign news kasi it all matters pa rin eh on how they got that information on whether it will affect the market in terms of crypto kasi nga it's usually things happen in the foreign states rather here in the Philippines, to be honest, kasi they have a much more larger grasp dun sa trend ng market. Ayan. So, a question from our Discord member, ayan, kay Jasbo, ayan. Sabi nila, in terms of you, Sir Luis, when do you invest and when to stay liquid? Parang ganon.
When to invest and when to stay liquid. Okay. Well, this is easy. So right now, because we're in a bear market, I prefer to stay liquid. That's it. So when the okay, so the timing is like this, no? You want to start investing right as the bear market is turning bullish. How do you know that? Well, there's lots of different indicators. Usually, like there's if you go back to those those crypto news websites that I was talking about, it's very easy to tell. Like, I said, the headlines will usually say it. Parang it's like, oh, bullish bullish forecast for this quarter, et cetera, right? And then you can see it in the prices. Parang if Bitcoin is 90,000 right now, maybe umaakyat na siya to 2020, 22, 23, 24, 25,000, whatever, ganun, stuff like that. That's a good time to kind of start to go in. Because what you're looking for is parang a proven bullish trend. Meaning na hindi siya tipong pumitik lang siya ng 1,000 plus $1,000, ganun, like, and then it drops again. It's like you're looking for a trend. And usually with trends like this, the signals are very obvious. So I'm not a ano I'm not a uh, I guess I've said this already because I'm not a TA, I'm not a technical analyst. I actually just wait for really, really obvious signals. Because when the crypto market becomes bullish naman, everyone knows. It's so obvious, right? Because I mean the price just won't stop going up. Diba? So you don't have to ask. If you have to ask if it's bullish or not, then it's probably not bullish. Because it's sobrang obvious pag bullish yung crypto eh. So I think it's the same. So I just, right now, I'm trying to stay as liquid as possible. And then when I start to see na, oh, okay, mukhang Ethereum is approaching $2,000 again, right? Which was kind of where it was a few months ago. Maybe it's time to go back in. Yun. Of course, this is not a 100% accurate kind of. It's like I still make mistakes. But generally speaking, kung ganitong bearish yung market, kaya I was saying earlier, 'di ba, yung recommendation ko for what crypto to invest in, USDC. Kasi like honestly, ito yung pinaka-flexible right now eh. I don't know I don't know how long this crypto winter is gonna last, but like God, like last time, my last crypto winter was 2018. Sorry, 20, I guess, early 2018. It lasted all the way until early 2020. So yeah, so 2 years. It's like a really long time. So you have to ask yourself, because like, can I stay liquid long enough to do that? To still be around 2 years later? I hope so, diba? I think that's the goal. That should be the goal.
So yun, since you've mentioned in your winter, so may tanong din sa Discord na parang how did you survive your crypto winter? And
Yeah.
what did you
Uh,
do in order
uh
to climb?
Nagtrabaho ko. I had a full-time job. I had a salary. It's kind of the only thing you can do.
Web
Um,
2.
yeah, I mean, yeah, Web 2. It was a Web 2 life. So, yeah, I got a job. I always had I've always had a job naman in crypto. So, um I've been a programmer for 18 years, 19 years, something like that. I'm also a reasonably good designer. So, I have jobs, right? So yun yung ano, that's what I'm doing. Like, and then whenever I have a little bit of extra money, the dollar cost average ako into Bitcoin. So what's dollar cost averaging? For the people who don't know what that is, every day, there's a particular day of the month. Bahala ka when you want to do it, but I usually recommend the first day of the month. On the first day of the month, you buy Bitcoin at a particular time. You don't care what the price is, and you buy the same amount in dollars or pesos. So, kunwari, if you made a promise to yourself na every month bibili ka ng 1,000 pesos worth of Bitcoin, you just do it on the first day of every month at 10 a.m. and then you don't look at the price, you just do it, right? So, yun yung ginagawa ko back then. So, parang you're just chipping away at it. And the idea is at the end of the year, you've kind of cobbled together a little bit of a crypto savings. Na hindi mo mararamdaman masyado kung gaano kalaki yung impact nun until much later, probably a year or two later, because kailangan mo maiipon eh. And then of course, if you have like a certain amount of Bitcoin, and the price tends to go up 3 or 4 times, diba? Every time there's a big new bull market. So yun, that's when you'll feel the impact of your dollar cost averaging.
That's great talaga. So, talagang proper handling, proper knowing whether what's the trend in terms of the crypto market, learning what's new, that will actually know whether it's best to join the vibe in terms of yung pag-break nga from the bear market, what you've said earlier, and as well as to explore in a way na going those things na kahit paano nga you're chipping in those small bits of your earnings.
Right.
Parang invest and literally invest and forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pero time will come na you will harvest pa rin.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big believer in passive investments because um I I want to be able to do other stuff with my life. I don't want to just be looking at charts all day.
Mhm.
So parang yun yung problema kasi pag active trader ka eh. Like you have to I mean first I mean some people really enjoy it. So okay lang. I have nothing against that. Like if you really enjoy, looking at charts, trying to understand what the trends mean and stuff like that, that's fine. But I find it very stressful. And me personally, I don't like it. I find it very stressful. So I'd rather na yung investments ko are kind of passive. I just do a little every month and that's it. Like I don't think about it too much.
Grabe. So guys, do you have any more questions for both our Facebook viewers as well as for our Discord members? Since feeling ko grabe ang information natin ngayon for our episode 44 in terms of how things to take advantage in terms of the current market. So, to sum things up, anong masasabi niyo, Sir Luis, in terms of our whole podcast for tonight? Ayan.
Yeah. Well, okay, sige. Let me think about okay, so I usually give this advice to people who have just started in crypto. So when I say just started, I mean like maybe you started in 2021, ganon, because that's when sobrang nauso yung play to earn dito sa Pilipinas and then
Mhm.
yung NFT collecting and stuff like that. That's kind of all 2021 eh. What I usually tell them is uh, when you started in 2021, you were starting at the peak of kind of the crypto hype at that time. And 2022 it started to go down. You are now at kind of the bottom of it, no? And this is when you will actually earn your stripes. This is the moment when you will actually earn the right to call yourself a crypto person. Kasi a crypto person has to be able to get through the downtrends of the market and come out on the other side, and you still have some of your crypto, you still have some of your NFTs, whatever it is that you are into, no? Because if you're just in it at the peak and then you leave, you never really got the crypto experience is about volatility. Eh. And it's about how whether or not you can stick around. So that's why we have all of these sayings like hodl and then diamond hands and then stuff like
Mhm.
that. No, it's to remind people that kind of the way that you actually earn from crypto is by making sure that you last long enough to see your investments have some sizable returns. Hindi mo makikita yon if you started 2021 and then pag bumaba na yung market ngayon, like you quit, no? If you quit, then you're never gonna see your ROI. So
Mhm.
so yun, ano talaga siya eh. It requires patience and it requires some endurance, I guess. And also I guess you have to be willing to learn from the people who have been here before. So I guess I'm trying to say this to be a little bit more reassuring, no? The crypto winter is not going to last forever. It never does. Um, so you just need to kind of hold on long enough to kind of make it through to the part where we become bullish again. Now, you as a person, as an individual, bahala ka how you want to do that. If you have to liquidate some of your crypto in order to survive day to day, then that's fine. Of course, that's okay. You should still, prioritize your food and your health and your, all of that stuff. Of course, you should prioritize that. But I guess, parang don't lose hope just because mukhang mahaba na tong crypto winter na to. Like I can tell you that this first bit, this is just the first half. We're still in the first half right now, at least
It
based on
is.
experience. So yun. So don't lose hope. Crypto winters don't last. You just need to last longer than the crypto winters do. That's it. So that's it. That's my final advice there.
Wow. So wait lang, are you up for a follow-up question from Maoy, for
Yeah,
Sir
sure, of
Maoy?
course.
So
Sure,
he
sure.
said that it's his last question na parang, is it hard to become a technical analyst?
Um. Okay. So it depends on how deeply you want to become a TA. No, if all you want to do is learn the basics. So actually, is it okay if I plug? Because it's so
Sure, no
YGG.
problem. No, no
Yeah, yeah.
problem.
So YGG. So our organization, we just did a joint venture with NAS Daily. So most people know what NAS Daily is. That's a content creator na very popular, no. So meron silang tinatawag na NAS Academy, where they teach people skills, right? So we make videos. Kami, myself and some other senior members of YGG, we made some videos teaching certain things. So yung particular course na to, the thing that we put together, it's called Metaversity. So para siyang university for the metaverse, no? So if you look up nas.io and then /metaversity, you'll be able to find yung courses namin. So you can sign up for it for a certain fee, or if you're a YGG member, you can get it for free kasi. So we actually give it for free to any YGG member. So nas.io tapos metaversity. So you have to kind of find the word metaversity. You should be able to pretty easily Google that naman. Or you can just follow me. I think if you follow me on Facebook, I'm talking about it at least once a week. I'm talking about it because we just launched it. So one of the courses that we teach there is the basics of charts, the basics of kind of stuff like this, and then later on we'll do slightly more advanced TA. But yeah, I really suggest that for most people, if you're just like an average person, you just need the fundamentals, just so you're comfortable looking at a chart and you understand what candlesticks and wicks mean, and stuff like that. But if you need to understand what moving averages are, those are like basic stuff that you can learn in an afternoon. So yun yung mga tinuturo namin right now. Just kind of the basics first, and then kind of we'll move on to making more advanced courses later if we have a lot of demand for it.
Ayun, hope nasagot ni Sir Luis ang question mo about technical analysis on how hard it is. It depends on how it will be tackled. Kung paano siya ituturo ng mga mentors, ng coaches, and as well
Yeah.
as your practice. Yun, nandun pa rin lagi on how
Mm.
you will develop yourself into learning on technical analysis, fundamental analysis. Ayan, it all depends on your workload or on your style. So yun, thank you very much, Sir Luis. If you have things to plug in here on both Facebook and Discord, please do, and any social
Yeah.
media and others
Ano,
po.
yeah, just follow me here on Facebook. Hello Luis, or you can look me up, Luis Buenaventura. May check mark, may blue check mark naman yung account na official. So just follow me there. Every Saturday morning, I actually write about crypto news that's relevant to Filipinos. So usually like I'll talk about the Federal Reserve. This morning I talked about Lodi coins though, because that was kind of a very popular trending topic. So yeah, I if you follow me on Facebook every Saturday morning, I'll have something like that. But usually throughout the week, I'll talk about if there's just like news, bits of news that I feel like we need to kind of post agad. I'll usually talk about it on Facebook. Facebook is kind of my main social network right now kasi nandun lahat ng mga Filipino viewers. So yun. Just follow me there, and yeah, hopefully you'll find it educational.
And it is educational. Grabe, sa totoo lang, ang dami yung once I've looked it up, ang dami ko talaga natutunan in terms of what happened. Like, it's very detailed, along with with the reference of each point na binibigay nyo. It's all backed up.
Thank
So,
you.
grabe.
Thank
So,
you.
you guys go to Sir Hello Luis, his main Facebook page. Makikita niyo dun. Very informative. Ang daming learnings. And for sure, marami kayong matutunan dun. Kaya, again, thank you, Sir Luis Benaventura II. And
Thank you.
we're glad to have you for this episode 44 of our Board Punks podcast. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, yeah, another episode finish. It is episode 44 and hope you guys learned a lot. Well, I do. So, ayun, lagi pa rin tayo nagpapasalamat sa ating mga community partners and never-ending support sa vision ng Board Punks of Society. And sila ay Crypto Chain PH, Real Deal Guild, Gabaos Cryptocurrency Signals, Yeah Supplies, Ape Army Guild, CNG, NASA Esports, Sinog Esports, LPads, SL Notify, Zfix Tribe, Playdex, and as well as Gemini Guild. So, again, thank you guys, and happy anniversary para sa ating pinakaunang Board Punks podcast. Ito ay September 24. Grabe. And hope to see you more on our journey here in our podcast. At alam ko marami kayong matututunan pa in our next episodes. Thank you very much. Fatal here. Ingat kayo.